Thanks for tuning in to the KRVN Sports Podcast page, your home for all of the local broadcasts produced by KRVN Sports. This page and the playback is brought to you by Hoegemeyer Hybrids, raising the bar on yield performance. For KRVN Sports, I'm Jayson Jorgensen. Coming up on Saturday, the Lexington Aquatic Center will be a busy place because the Tsunami League Tri-State Swim Championships will be going on. This week, I had a chance to talk to one of the league's board members, Tom Martin, who is the swim coach at Elwood, and he says they're ecstatic to have this event back in Lexington.
The Plains Tsunami Swim League has been around since 1986, and Lexington at one point did have a swim team, and having the 8-lane pool there in Lexington allows us to have basically 16 swimmers from each age group in each individual race qualify for championships, which is for the league itself. You know, having the space that Lexington has at their aquatic center is fantastic. There's going to be probably about 1,500 people that will be there for this event. So they've got the space, they've got the 8 lanes, so we can get as many kids to championships as possible. So, and that's our goal as a league.
And you've had this event in Lexington before, right?
Yes, we have. Yeah, I think it was actually 4 years ago when the Lexington swim team kind of dissolved, and then at that point they didn't really feel like they wanted to host anymore. So we actually had to then move our championship meets to other pools. I think we had it at McCook one year. We had it out in Imperial at their new pool last year. So having it back in Lexington really is great for us because it's a pretty nice central location as far as the league is concerned.
Tom, how big of an area do you draw from? Where is everybody coming from for this event?
So our league is, and it's just kind of funny, our league consists of 32 teams. And we are into Colorado now, and Kansas, and of course Nebraska. So we stretch from basically Ray, Colorado, out to Stockton, Kansas, down to Kensington, Kansas, over to Phillipsburg, Franklin, and then basically back up to I-80 is kind of the span that we cover.
Well, that kind of sounds like the KRVN footprint then.
That is, absolutely.
What's it like trying to get kids involved in swimming when there's certainly so many other things that pull people in different directions these days?
There is. The summer is, we think that we get out of school and summer is the time that we can relax, but kids are in baseball, they're in softball, they've got camps going on. So we really try to focus on, we want our kids to compete and get better every week. So that is kind of our focus. Of course, they're not, we try to have practice every day. Sometimes Mother Nature doesn't allow that. And then kids with all their activities sometimes miss. But we have 4 meets a year. And then that basically consists of the month of June. Every Saturday morning, we have a meet, a different locations host. So we try to break up the meets to where there's usually 4 or 5 teams at a meet. So we're usually done by noon. So you got your Saturday afternoon to do whatever you like to do in the summer. But the 4 regular season meets, then we do what we call relay meets. So we have some requirements that by the league that you have to swim in 2 individual events and at least 3 meets to be able to swim at qualifying. Saturday we had qualifying meets. There was 4 qualifying meets across the league. And what we do for individual events is we take the top 2 from each qualifier and then the next 8 fastest times for championships this Saturday in Lexington.
Tom, in terms of age groups, what ages of people are involved with your organization and your league?
So we break, the league breaks it into age groups. So we have 8 and under. We've got 10 and under, 12 and under, 14 and under, 15 to 18, 19 and over, and then we actually still do have some 30 and overs that still swim. So we always wanted it to be the championships to be back in Lexington. We know it does take it closes the pool for a Saturday, but bringing the number of people into Lexington and for all the area businesses is a positive for Lexington. So, as a league, we were ecstatic to have it back there again, primarily because Lexington does have an 8-lane pool.
That was Elwood swim coach Tom Martin, who's one of the board members of the Tsunami Tri-State Swim League. Their big championship event is set for tomorrow in Lexington at the Lexington Aquatic Center. For KRVN Sports, I'm Jayson Jorgensen.